Hi, this is Kelly Batts, and you're watching South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux.
Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can help make our business community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this show focusing on business in South Jersey. On today's program, we will talk with Kelly Batts, a certified public accountant from Linwood, who has been serving the needs of her clients, including individuals, businesses, organizations, for over 13 years. Kelly will share her entrepreneurial work ethic as well as her experience and knowledge of business. I have had the privilege to know Kelly for many years. My wife and I actually met Kelly through volunteer efforts within our community. It takes a very talented and hardworking person to balance career, your own business, family, and life. Kelly Batts possesses these skills along with the determination and drive that has resulted in her success. Stay tuned for our conversation with certified public accountant Kelly Batts as she shares the how, what, why of making it all add up and more on South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. Welcome back to business. Thanks for joining South Jersey Business with me, Joe Molyneux. Please welcome our guest, certified public accountant Kelly Batts. Kelly, thanks for joining us on South Jersey Business.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
You've been an accountant and a CPA for quite some time. At what point did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
I became a CPA in 1998, and I worked in public accounting for two larger firms for 10 years. And then in 2004, I decided I had had enough experience. It was time to go out on my own.
What does it take to be a CPA?
CPA?
Yeah, certified public accountant.
Well, number one, you have to pass a very hard exam. So CPA actually stands for can't pass again. But as far as skill set, you need to be somewhat good with math. No calculus needed. And you need to be detail-oriented, organized, but it's also a customer service business. You have to be good with clients.
So what has your corporate experience that you had before you started your CPA firm, what has that taught you and how has that helped you in your own business?
I had a very lucky career path. I started working for a big four firm in Atlanta, Georgia. I had major clients, and then I moved back to South Jersey, and I worked for a mid-sized firm for 10 years, and I really got into the nitty-gritty. When you work for a smaller firm, you're in it. And that really has helped me where I am today. I had a great experience, great training.
Was the entrepreneurial journey, was it something you thought about along, while you were working for those other firms, or did it strike you one day and just said, I really want to go out on my own?
Nope, when I started the big firm, I definitely was like, I will be partner here someday. But life takes you different places, and I just decided it was time to go on my own due to, life, family balance and where my life was headed.
How do you choose or which clients to work with or work for? Do you have a system in place that allows you to match your skill set up with the clients that you work with?
Well, number one, I only take nice clients. If you come to me with a big box of receipts, we're going to have some problems. No, I'm joking. But honestly, I've been lucky enough to build my practice word of mouth and nice people, and I really am just blessed with who I work with.
You do some business consulting as well. Do you find that getting into the business and visiting the business from time to time is helpful? Is that something you do on a regular basis?
Absolutely. I am a sole proprietor, so when I do your taxes or your accounting work, I know everything about you. It's not like when you go to a bigger firm and you don't know really who's working on your work. But I want to understand your business, and if I need to go to where you are, I do.
I think sometimes that's lost in today's world. Sometimes people think bigger is better, but you're right, to have that client base that you've grown over the last 13 years and give personalized service to each one of those clients that you serve, that's a pretty good recipe for success.
And I do think that's why I've been successful. People do know that I'm the one actually working on your return or your work.
Now, this might be a two-part question, but the tax laws change. I mean, we're going through a tax law change right now at the federal level. How do you stay current on all the changes of the tax law?
Well, luckily, the CPA regulations help me do that. I need to have 120 hours every 3 years, but I really love going to seminars, live trainings, and working with my peers.
I think we share that love of education within the industries and business. It's always good to stay up on the trends, but do you do a lot of reading on your own as well?
I do. Luckily, with technology today, every morning I have my cup of coffee, turn up my computer, and there it is, my CPA Daily. And so I know exactly what's happening.
So there's subscriptions to industry
Yes.
trade magazines as well as websites that you undertake.
Yes.
Would you encourage others to do the same if they're looking for a similar path? Stay educated on the industries that they serve.
Absolutely. You have to stay current. You have to stay new. You don't want to stale CPA.
Do you find you gravitate to people that are like you in your industry that also enjoy the education side of the industry?
I do, and that's why I prefer for my continuing education to actually go and talk with my peers and have lunch with them and know what's going on out there.
Well, I'm thoroughly enjoying this part of the conversation. We're going to continue it in just a minute.
Great.
We'll be right back with more business talk with Kelly Batts, Certified Public Accountant. And we are back with Kelly Batts, Certified Public Accountant. Kelly, how do you define success?
Well, Joe, I think success is different for everybody. I think it's a very subjective question. I think in business, you're successful if you're doing something you're passionate about and you get to make money while doing it. That's success.
It's a great definition. Speaking of success, how great does it make you feel, or how good do you feel knowing that the businesses you work with, the individuals, the organizations, and the nonprofits are more successful because of the work you're doing with them?
I hate to sound like boastful, but no, it does feel good. Nothing makes me happier when I hear somebody followed my advice, or called me, asked me a question, followed my advice, and turned out for them, and they're doing better because of it.
That's great. How do you manage your, with the existing clients you have, continue to manage the client expectation?
I think with clients, and the key thing is communication. Open communication, communication often. Whether it be phone calls, emails, just keep the line going and set deadlines and how the progression of whatever work we're doing is going to go together.
And I'm guessing you use a combination of face-to-face, email, phone calls as part of your communication with your clients?
I do, all of the above. And my clients laugh at me all the time. As I said, I'm all over the place, but so there's like, you were really emailing me at 4 a.m? Yes, sometimes I am.
It's funny, you bring up something interesting. I think part of the management of clients and working with clients is understanding how they want their information. So I'm guessing over the last 13 years, you probably have strategies to learn.
That has definitely changed as well. When I first set up my office, I had a fax machine. Can you imagine? I know, and now everything is, electronic and safety portal, and it's changed so much since I first started.
Well, speaking of longevity, and you have been running your practice for 13 years now, what's one of the most important business lessons you've learned in those 13 years?
To me, the most important thing I've learned: hard work. Hard work pays off. You give what you get. Simple as that.
Are you one of those early risers? You already said you'll be sending an email late into the evening or early in the morning, but are you working till the work is done?
As the years have gone by, I had no problem back in the day. I would stay up till midnight, 1 a.m. Now I'm more of a things toss and turn in my head, and so I'd rather go to bed, get up, and I am working on your account at 3 a.m, 4 a.m.
Now this leads to the very next question, and you alluded to it earlier in the session, today's conversation about balance. You've not only have a great career, you've grown a successful business with a good, strong client base. You actually have raised a son and a daughter during that time and still managed what I hope is a healthy social life of activity of friends and family around you. How do you balance it all?
Well, you work hard, play hard, right?
Agreed.
But honestly, as far as the career path I've chosen has really allowed me to be the parent that I wanted to be as well. That was a huge part in why I left and decided to be an entrepreneur and go on my own. I've been able to be at some events that I could not have been if I was in a different firm or in a different job. And I appreciate that.
13 years is a lifetime in business for some people, and you're hitting on your profession. You have a great recipe for success there. Has it gotten a little easier over the years as have you gotten wiser in the way in which to operate the business to make it easier on you and your lifestyle and family and the time that you spend outside of business?
I have, and definitely I'm lucky to say I've had some of the clients I was with 13 years ago, most of the clients I was with 13 years ago are still with me today. And I've learned what works for them and how to manage them and, make that situation work for us.
What's one of the things you enjoy most about working with people and numbers?
I have been told often I'm not like the normal pencil pusher, like behind the desk kind of person. I truly do love every year when my clients come in, seeing them catching up. I've been a therapist, I've been a friend. I love when I get Christmas cards, I get postcards. I truly enjoy working with every single one of my clients.
Well, it definitely shows that smile on your face defines success. I want to thank you for sharing with us. We got more to cover here on today's show, but thank you very much for sharing your formula for success and the other parts of your entrepreneurial journey.
Great, thanks for having me.
That was Kelly Batts, certified public accountant from Linwood, New Jersey. We'll be right back with more South Jersey Business. As you're aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business and critical when you're computing and compiling financial numbers for businesses and organizations that rely on the financials for the 4Ms. As an accountant, you are also at times a consultant, and you need to know more than just money. You need to know something about all 4Ms. So it's time for the M4 Big Money Question. Kelly, let's break down those 4Ms. We'll take them one at a time. Talk to me about your management style and how you manage your business.
Well, being a sole proprietor, I'm really managing myself. And the most important thing for me is managing my time. Time is money. Opportunity cost, manage your time, it all works out.
I love that that's a major focus, but in your role, you also spend some time managing the affairs, or at least the financial part of some of your business clients that you work with, correct?
I do, and being a CPA, there's deadlines. March 15th, April 15th, all deadlines. And for us, our process to move along, we do have to have, my clients also need to get me information timely to make everything come out at the end, yes.
That is so important. There's time triggers in the work you do.
There is,
yeah,
there is.
That's actually an interesting part of the management piece.
Deadlines, yes.
So 13 years, you've grown your business practice year over year. Marketing had to be a part of that. Which ways do you market and which methods of marketing do you use to grow your business?
I am very old school, Joe. Marketing, my number one thing is word of mouth, and I'm honestly proud of that. So for 13 years, a lot of the clients that I had back then, I'm now doing their children's returns, or I'm doing businesses that their kids had, or things like that. I do. Word of mouth to me has been my number one marketing tool.
Well, not only is that one of the most valuable ways to market, but it's also the most cost effective, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that
yes.
works out well.
And it's a compliment as well.
Absolutely.
So.
You get a reassurance that you're doing a good job when
That's
people
right.
refer you. I love it. So we're up to money. Always something that you have to deal with every day, but as part of the 4Ms, it's an important part.
I do. Honestly, for my business clients, money is so important. It's not the most important thing, but it's so important. But I tell them, if you're not making money, it's a hobby. Money makes the world go around. And my job is to look at your balance sheet, look at your profit and loss, and see what efficiencies we can have to make it better for you.
It's funny, in some walks of life, people say never discuss money with anybody, but your world is discussing financial and money with everybody. So you probably have a very good comfort level of discussing finances.
It is, but what happens at Kelly Batts CPA stays at Kelly Batts CPA. People are sometimes, like to turn over their financial information, but that's part of the process, but it goes no further.
Well, you strike me as someone very trustworthy, as well as someone that's willing to keep confidential information confidential. I guess it's part of what you do as a CPA.
It is. Our tagline is, a CPA is your trusted financial advisor.
Wow.
So at the end.
So we get to the fourth M, media. In this age of digital marketing, as well as information that can get to your clients quicker through social media, is it something you use, or?
I do use it, definitely. A new tax regulation comes out, something that I think my clients need to know. I will put it out on Facebook, or I'll send a quick email blast to those that affect. I was very busy in December as the new tax laws came over to trigger my clients what they needed to do.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. Management, marketing, money, or media, which is your favorite, M and why?
Who doesn't say money, Joe? But honestly,
surprised.
it's not money. For me, it's marketing, and I mean marketing as how you market yourself, how you market your business, and that's what'll make everything else come along.
You're very successful at the marketing, clearly, Kelly, and I want to thank you for sharing your views on the M4 Big Money question.
Thank you again for asking me.
There you have it. Kelly Batts is certified public accounting of the M4 Big Money question. Sounds like a formula that adds up to success in management, marketing, money, and media. We'll be right back. Welcome back. On today's business drill, we will stick with today's theme of accounting and discuss a few ways to hopefully help all of your hard work add up to more success by potentially adding a small business. Today's guest reminded me that a specific skill set or additional available time based on the work you currently do can provide the opportunity to explore the possibility of starting your own small business. Here are a few basic tips and strategies on ways to build, develop, and maintain a small business in addition to what you might be doing right now. People take on a side business for several reasons. Sometimes it's to supplement their income. Sometimes they're passionate about a business or see a chance to serve an unmet need. Making this decision and acting on it can be a leap of faith. But there are ways to reduce the risk of failure and increase the opportunity for success, and even potentially help you make what you started, a side business, your primary business. Start with a plan. At the very least, a strategic approach should be developed. Writing things down makes things clearer and also makes you more accountable, at least to yourself. Look at the numbers. Make sure the money you can make is or could eventually be worth the time and effort you are putting forth. If your goal is to ultimately replace full-time earnings, be realistic. Don't forget to consider things you'll need to pay for yourself that are now covered under your current employment, like health benefits. Keep it legal. Follow the business rules that are set up by the government at the federal, state, county, and municipal levels. If you're serious about growing your business, take the rules seriously. Put yourself on a clock. Establish a realistic time frame to spend working on the business or doing what it takes to make the business successful. If you choose to move into a business full-time, then set and adhere to your benchmarks. For example, once revenues or sales reach a certain number, or you overtake a current earnings, you may be able to phase out your regular job. It can be helpful to set a specific date when you'll engage in the business full-time. Remember that running a small business takes sacrifice and commitment. These two words are a big part of growing whatever type of business you want to start and run. One of my small business friends always reminds me, holidays don't pay me to take them off. Regardless of your operating hours, ownership of a small business is 24/7, even when it is not your main source of income. So let's take a moment to review today's drill. Number 1, start with a plan. Number 2, look at the numbers. Number 3, keep it legal. Number 4, put yourself on a clock. And 5, small business takes commitment and sacrifice. So there you have it. 5 quick tips and strategies and some things to consider when potentially adding a small business to what you are currently doing for this week's business drill. Having a good community conscience is an important part of building solid business relationships in the region where your customers, friends, and families live. Making a real difference through giving can be part of making a living in business. Here's how this week's guest gets involved to make our communities and region stronger. Michael, we talk to so many businesses in and around South Jersey, and many of them have a very strong community connection. Passion Vines Wine and Spirits Company really fits that mold as a strong community partner. Can you talk a little bit about some of the efforts that you've put forth in the community, specifically the Right Notes, which I know is very near and dear to your heart?
Sure. Listen, when you talk about community, I think in order to have a sustainable business and a legacy, I think you have to make the community a part of your vision and mission. And so for us, we've done just that. And so whether it's a beef and beer fundraiser on up to, as you mentioned, the Right Notes fundraiser, which is our largest fundraising effort to date. The Right Notes is a wine tasting that takes place in October every year, and the monies go to multiple sclerosis. It's a personal mission for me. My mom was diagnosed in 1990, and I have made it my mission, professionally and personally, to find a cure for this debilitating disease.
Yeah, it's so important, especially when it hits home and so close to home. But you've also educated so many people about the need for more research and more money dedicated to that cause. And I know so many people in the community appreciate it, and you are synonymous with that. But you also mentioned many of the other events, and I see your name associated with sponsorships and things like that. And I know that takes a toll on people's time, and there's a balance there. So, if you were to give advice to somebody starting out in business, 13 years you've been doing this. What sort of advice would you give to someone that's just getting asked now to get more involved in their community, in their business community, in their giving community? What sort of advice could you give a new business?
Sure. Well, I think you have to evaluate it in terms of time and money, right? There's some people that will ask for your time, for you to physically be there, and then others will say, hey, listen, can you write us a check? I think especially starting off in a business, when you're in that birth phase of a business and you're wearing a dozen hats, it's really hard to physically be there, and you don't really have a whole lot of cash because you're just starting off. So I think it's a classic example of being resourceful when you don't necessarily have the resources. And so, you just have to pick and choose. I think at the end of the day, people want to know how much you care before they care how much you know, to use that line. And, so I think you just pick a few that really mean something to you and your business, and do something, even if it's little, but consistently.
Yeah, that's great advice. And so many times I think people think they have to give, but if there's nothing left for a new business to give, you can't continue that. So it's not fair to do.
Correct. Listen, you by saying yes, there's an enormous power in that. But unfortunately, if you say yes too much, your sustainability becomes threatened. And so I always say, you become someone, and your business becomes something by saying yes, but it becomes sustainable by what you say no to.
Now, your hometown, your first base of business, Summers Point, went through another renaissance of such in the community, where it's become the ignited Bayfront district, and it's a place where people want to do business and want to be involved in business. And you were a big part of that. That was a heavy lift for a small group of people that, under your leadership, you mentioned that word earlier, you were able to grow it exponentially to the point where I believe there's more businesses involved in that business or association than there are businesses in Summers Point, correct?
True. So if you're talking, so the Summers Point Business Association is what you're referencing.
Yes.
We grew that, probably about 45% over the last few years. But listen, there's a group of founding fathers to which, and I'm a big believer, right, in understanding history and understanding the legacy that has been left, and just, and moving it along, right? They left something very special. And again, I looked at it as our obligation in the board of directors to just move it right, in the direction of sustainability. And listen, Somers Point's a special place, and it continues to be, from economic development to community first, to the leadership in terms of the city council and mayor. They have a vision, and they're taking action consistently. So as a business owner and resident of Somers Point, I'm very proud to be there.
I want to applaud you, Michael Bray, on two fronts. One, sharing the spotlight with many other people that have helped the community grow, but you're an integral part of that. And then thanking you for continuing to be an integral part of the community's growth on both the business side and the community side.
My pleasure, Joe. It's an honor.
Thank you very much. That was Michael Bray, founder of Passion Vines Wine and Spirit Company. We'll be right back with more South Jersey Business. The crew here at South Jersey Business appreciates those of you that tune into the show each week. When we receive questions from our viewers, we do our best to respond to your inquiries. So it's time for Q&A. And here's this week's question. I have been working with the same group of professionals for legal, accounting, and financial advice for a number of years. Sometimes I wonder if I should consider making a change. Any suggestions on the subject? This is a question many people probably think about but don't always ask. Also, you've not given a specific reason for considering making a change in your professional service relationships. I'm not a fan of making change for change's sake. However, here are a few things for you to consider. First, if you suspect you are not being treated well or feel the service does not meet the expectations set forth, then absolutely consider making a change. If it is purely a matter of cost based on the services you are receiving, you will want to handle this situation a bit more carefully. With any situation, I believe the answer may be research and communication. First, talk to the people you know and trust that use different professional service providers and ask them about the fees or costs associated with similar work. Also, utilize the internet and check pricing. You may not find the answers on the professional service providers' websites. Most likely, you will find usable information on industry-specific sites or message-type boards related to your type of company. Make sure you take into account regional pricing and competition, since those factors and a few other variables affect pricing that companies charge and fees they earn. Once you have some specific information to review, simply compare it to what you have and what you are being charged. Hopefully, you find the cost to be in line and there's no need to even have a conversation. If your relationship is based on trust, communication, and of course, value. If there is a major disparity or your costs are so far away from the average that you are concerned, you will want to meet with your professionals to discuss what you discovered. Give them an opportunity to answer the questions you have about the pricing. You may risk damaging or dinging the relationship by directly questioning the value of the services you are receiving based on the amount you are paying. But if the difference of the pricing is a true concern, you need to address it. Finally, and this is important, take into consideration the cost to build or rebuild a long-standing professional service relationship. You may be surprised by the response you receive. Hopefully, there is a commitment to value and services and the relationships from all involved. Most likely, it will be addressed and resolved. Hopefully, your pre-communication research will show you are doing just fine. Thanks for reaching out. I hope that helps answer your question, and we'll be right back. Well, that was the show. We had an informative discussion with certified public accountant Kelly Batts of Linwood, New Jersey. We answered a question and even learned a few tips if you are considering adding a small business to what you are doing right now as part of our business drill. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this show possible. Let's do it again next week. Until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.